All right, guys, welcome to this weBVolume contest webinar series. My name is Ryan Stack. I'm going to be walking you guys through improving interpersonal skills. Sarah Rose is currently down in New York City helping out train a whole group down there, Fat Joe's team. So a lot of great stuff going on. I'm glad I can hop on, and this is an area I believe heavily in. And Sarah and I have built this a lot together, and she was always a big component of retailing. And for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Sarah Rose's other half, but I also was a music teacher, and for 3 years I was working as an account representative with Yellow Book, which is now called Haibu, kind of an advanced Yellow Pages now going to website sales. And that job was all 100% cold calls with a tweak of trying to develop relationships. Sarah then really took off because when we started this and really started working from home, she started selling more websites and getting more referrals than I did applying the techniques I learned at that full-time job with Yellow Book that I think were some of the best sales skills you could ever learn and do in the field. You were forced to do the uncomfortable. I learned a lot, but applying those same skills, which was a cold calling skill, over to what we were doing with websites was not as effective as what we're going to talk about here, which is really developing relationships and being aware of how to do that. And we think that's an automatic thing, but I will tell you about 90% of people aren't aware of some basic things that form great relationships, and hopefully this is going to be something that will help you guys. So we're going to talk about how to really start building trust and solid relationships, all about having a good attitude, smile, make others smile, don't complain, show that you care, be considerate, empathize, be an active listener, interpret nonverbal communication, create a sense of team and togetherness, and be a clear communicator, edify, and close. So that's what we're going to walk through in tonight's webinar. Here's how it's going to be structured. Sarah is going to share and post with you the results and analysis of this week's all the accountability that you guys submit. So make sure you check the 90-day group, and she'll post that on there so you guys can kind of keep up to date with all the numbers and what's going on. We're going to talk about interpersonal skills for this. There's going to be a challenge of the week, and we'll have a little bit of time to do Q&A tonight. I have to jump on another call at 10 o'clock, which is a DRS call that we do for our team. So I'm going to be covering that. So we won't have too much time, but I'll stay on as long as I can. And if you want, leave questions on the Facebook group. I'll go back and answer those after my call tonight so that everyone can be helped. All right, so just keep in mind these webinars are recorded. There's a copy of where they'll all be made available. And usually after the end, we will pause this, and you won't get the question and answers. That will just happen tonight, all right? So let's talk about relationship selling. And relationships 100% in today's world matter. This is taking a 180 turn from how sales were traditionally done in 1970, 80, 90, and has really changed things because of how informed consumers are today. It's more about providing that information and having that relationship, okay? Do you want a sale just for today, or do you want a sale for life? Do you want more referrals, meaning that do the work today and get paid multiple times because you took care of someone and cared enough to develop a relationship with that person? Do you want more happy clients? How would you like to sell a client today, 10 years later, they're still with you? That's loyalty, and ultimately, the unfranchised was always built to provide enough time so you can create loyalty, care about your customers so that they don't want to go anywhere else. Realize that a big part of what we sell is you. You have to build up who you are and our product, because that is why someone will stay with you long term, okay? Do you want this to be enjoyable? All right, that's a big question, because what I did in Yellow Book and working for sales, there was times where I couldn't face doing it another day and I had to. And this has always been a fun process for us building with MA Web Centers and unfranchised and our unfranchised business. So strong customer relationships drive sales, sustainability, and growth. Did you know that it costs 5 times as much to create a new customer than it does to keep an existing one? And the way our business is built is that you do the work to find one, that'll do the work to find 5, and that'll do the work to find 20 if you do it right. and then it's never really hard because you're developing share of customer and a network of referrals through satisfied customers. Loyal customers are not only the result of not only the result of happy customers. Happy customers can always find another deal or solution. They can't find another you. So remember that. You are part of the product. MA Web Centers is part of the product. The company, everything is part of what you're selling, and that'll choose why someone won't go somewhere or will stay with you. Here's a great story, because this just happened about 3 days ago. We had a customer I found at my old job. He has 2 websites through us, and he's had 2 websites through us for the past 6 years. And we haven't had a lot, we've maintained communication. We answer promptly emails that come in or text messages. He has our personal line. He does have tech support, but we are always doing as much as we can to go above and beyond. So when he was approached to buy a website through another company, and what do? They're going to try to outprice us, right? They're going to try to talk about all these amazing things they can do, about how they're always going to be there. But really, there's a lot of questions in that customer's mind, in our customer's mind. So you know what? Instead of trusting that person who came in to offer them all these promises, he called me and then asked if I would come in to review what the differences are, because he didn't want to go with anyone else, and he was just curious. So we reviewed everything. At the end of the day, he goes, "I'm so happy you came in. You've never let me down for 6 years. You're always there. You always answer my calls and my texts." And he goes, "I'm so glad we did this, because I would get not even half of what I have, and my rep would be gone 9 months out of the year if he comes back to work next year." You know what I mean? So we have such a great business, and not only a great product, but we have the ability to be available to those people so that they never want to go anywhere else. And that's so rare in what today's business world is, and it's a strength to MA Web Centers and you representing that product, because customers are buying you. So be a big value sell, and they won't want to go anywhere else, okay? By the way, so he didn't, and then he wanted to upgrade various parts of his 2 sites just because he wanted to modernize it, but he didn't go anywhere. He stayed with us, okay? They can't find another you. Most people react negatively to high-pressure sales. If you've experienced trying to sell someone over the phone or direct sales, you felt that, right? As soon as you call, or as soon as someone calls you and says, "Hey, is so-and-so available? I'm, so-and-so from company AY, XYZ," and they try to sell you something, isn't your initial gut to be like, "Please don't call me again," right? It's high pressure, and people immediately have a negative response, okay? In relationship selling, which we're talking about, high pressure is not typically part of the equation, simply because it's hard to have a friendly relationship with a client who feels pressured by you, right? It's very hard to feel that sense of pressure because there's already trust. There's already care that's being exchanged both ways. All right. In relationship selling, you become a form of support for your clients, and that's really what this is about. Okay. I love this. Old school versus new school. Old school really is what I learned. It was all the traditional sales gurus, right, of the day, and it's deliver a strong sales pitch. That was the old way of you had to practice a pitch and then go do it. New way, new school, is stop the pitch and start the conversation. Start developing a relationship and don't worry about the sales pitch, right? Rejection in old school is part of the sales process. Part of a big way they trained old salespeople, including myself, was, hey, you're going to get this negative response. Here's how to overcome it. And you'll start the process of learning how to overcome objections. That was part of the curriculum. New school sales is rejection is a result of selling. Focus on conversations, eliminate rejection. How cool is that? So we're not even having to deal with a lot of these problems. It's all good. And you just go straight through the process without even having that resistance, because the resistance is only forms of questions, which isn't a normal conversation. More enjoyable. When you get objections, old school is you overcome them and explain the value, right? Just mention that. New school is you get objections, you discover the truth behind the problem. So you're uprooting, okay, why is this person having some anxiety? Let's go solve a problem. Old school, your goal is to close a sale. New school, your goal is to discover if it's a good fit. Some people may not need our product. It's more about, do they need something, and can we provide the best service possible for them, and does it make sense? That should be your end goal, is to provide a solution to someone who needs it, right? Not to just close anyone just because you're trying to close a sale. Old school, always be closing. New school is always be listening. Old school is high pressure sales, and new school relationship selling is no pressure. Just find the solutions. And the old school is you studied scripts, right? Give me a script. What do I do to call people? How do I sell people? How am I going to close people? Let me learn 25 closing techniques, right? And the new school is focus on the prospect. Master relationship selling, you have to master interpersonal skills. So this won't apply. New school won't apply if you don't spend the time to go over these things we're going to cover. So number one is have a good attitude. And this might sound simple for a lot of people, but it goes such a long way, and you don't realize as soon as you start your day and the things that you start feeling will impact the ability for you to be able to relate and develop relationships throughout the day. So have a good attitude. Smile. I know it sounds so obvious. When you smile, you feel better, and people get a good vibe from you, wanting to know who you are and to hear from you, right? Make others smile. That just happens by accident when you have a good attitude. Don't complain. Don't bash competition. This is a big one. When you're talking to people about various options they have, and they bring up someone like, let's say, GoDaddy or Wix or who knows, there's a lot of options out there. You don't sit there and say, oh, that company's awful. Oh, they're only going to give you this. They're going to nickel and dime you. You're going to spend $10,000 by the time you're done with that free quote-unquote website, right? You're bashing them. You don't want to do that, okay? So don't bash the competition. We know we have one of the best solutions possible. And so be confident, but just say how we're different. You don't have to bash competition. You can support. Okay, dress professionally and appropriately. This is a big one. When you go out in your day and you're talking to clients and you're going on appointments, you do want to show a professionalism about what you do. There's one thing to say. It says dress professionally. It should also say don't necessarily overdress. Some people go way above what they should, and some people go and they don't even care. You have to look the part and you have to dress professionally. If someone's going to trust you, would you trust someone coming in just bum clothes with stains on it, right? Would you give your money and time to that person, or to the person who is at least looking like they take care of themselves, right? Because ultimately, that's going to affect how they feel about doing business with you, all right? Someone once said this, and I think it's really a good lesson to learn. Do the small things really well so that you can expect to do the big things well. And if you can't do the small things well, you'll never have the big things happen in life, okay? Body language is a big one. How do you present yourself? Do you slouch? Are you lazy when you talk to someone, all right? You want to be engaged all the time. And confidence is a big difference between being cocky and being confident. Confident is just believing 100% in what you do and demonstrating that, okay? Not bragging about it, demonstrating the knowledge and belief you have, okay? The first step to building a strong relationship is to be friendly and to be enjoyable to be around. Nobody wants to hang around complainers, gossipers, or negative energy will come to the table, okay? You won't get that when someone who smiles, means it, and has a good attitude. This will go for everything. If you are a miserable person, you will attract that misery into your life. This is just kind of the rules of the universe, if you will. If you are a good attitude, ambitious, a go-getter, never quit type of attitude, go above and beyond, that is the value-added service. When you go to sell a client and develop a relationship, they will sense that and say, I want to do business with this person because they're going places and I want to be part of that. They're going to take care of me because that personality just fits what I'm going to expect if I do business with that person. If you are negative or show discouragement or any of those things, you're going to attract more of that, and ultimately you won't get the business, or you won't have the business down the road. 2, show that you care. Take the focus off of hitting your goals and hitting your quotas or whatever thing you have established for yourself, and reverse it and show that you care. And this goes for the business as well. To hit your goals in your unfranchised business, isn't it about your partner succeeding? Isn't it about the business developments they build and the customers and the volume they produce, right? And it's you caring about them hitting their goals that accidentally make you hit your goals. And that's how you have to treat website clients as well. You want to compliment your prospects. You want to praise them. You want to support them. You want to almost be that silent person who then steps into their business and you feel like you're part of it, like they hired you to help them with what they need as far as websites, right? Understand their point of view. Relate to what they have to say. Understand where they're coming from. Don't always be the one that's trying to always add, things they don't know, but understand exactly where the business is, where they want to take it, and how you can fit in. Learn about their prospects. Show interest in their business. Every business is different. Every solution to what we have can be applied in many different ways in many different industries, in many different sizes of companies. So be cognizant of that and be willing to help learn. Hey, what is your type of customer? Where do you guys want to go? What do you struggle with? Ask those questions because you care, because you really do care. And that's going to go a long way. Address their concerns, not your agenda. Don't be, hey, I only got 30 minutes. I only have this. Can't give you a lot of time. I got to move on to this. Address their concerns. What are your concerns? What are they worried about? Maybe it's something we can't provide or can provide. They're questioning something that. Maybe it's about the value that they're going to get, the money for the service they're going to get. Maybe it's their concerns about managing the site. Make sure you address all of those and answer those accordingly. It's not about you, it's about them. Treat people like people. That's a big one, man. I like that. Not a number. Treat people like people. Everyone has their own stresses, their own goals, their own ambitions, their own struggles. And treat them like you know them, you care about them, and act accordingly to that, not just, oh, I called you, or hey, you're just another appointment, or I got to run and do my, you know what I mean? That's when people get treated like a number. You know how that feels if you call into a bank, or if you call into your insurance company and they put you through all these automated dial this, press this, you get hung up on. All of a sudden, you're not a person anymore. You're simply a number in a very large customer base. You have the ability to take customers and treat them like real people. And most companies never have a shot to do what we have. And that's a huge benefit to the Market America and our business and MA Web Centers. And be considerate. Everything about them and about how you treat them, you need to be considerate, okay? Step 3 is you want to be considerate and empathize with this person. So be on time. If you have an appointment, always be on time, because you want to be cognizant and you want to be appreciative of their time. When you're late, there's that old saying is that you're wasting someone's time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. And the biggest sales and the biggest relationships and the most successful people, the number one thing they value over anything, right? The ultimate currency is time. And that's the one thing that is precious to everyone, and we all wish we could have, unlimited amounts, and we don't. It's limited. So you don't want to abuse time. That's a big one, and you will lose out on great relationships if you abuse that for your clients or just people that you're meeting that you want to develop a relationship with. Be considerate of their needs. Again, you're solving their problems. It's not about you. Be considerate of their timing. Give time to consider the decision. Don't have to press them for a sale right away. This is not a timeshare presentation where, hey, you can't leave because you'll miss this deal. There are times where you can give incentives, but there's also times if someone says, hey, I actually just need a little bit of time, or I need to address this, and it's okay. Allow that person a little bit of time if they need it, and be considerate of that. They will appreciate it, and if you follow up, you'll still get the sale and the relationship, and it'll be better off rather than trying to push them into something that they simply need a little more time to consider, okay? Be considerate of their concerns. Again, help them find the answers that they need. Every sale is about finding solutions, and if you can't address the concerns, bring them to the surface, and then answer them, you're not going to get the client or build a relationship, all right? Empathize with challenges. Avoid the one-upping people. When they complain about something, all of a sudden you have 5 more things to complain. I love people that this happens just in personal relationships, right? When you're talking to someone, how's your day going? Oh, my day was awful. I got a flat tire. Or, oh, you got a flat tire. Well, I got you beat. My engine exploded and my dryer went. And, everyone does these one-upping things. That exists in this type of environment too. So avoid doing that, all right? Avoid turning into a negative atmosphere. There's a lot of times if there's a little bit of friction or a little bit of concern and it's bringing up kind of some, the client maybe hesitating or the relationship developing that way, if you address it and bring attention to it, it's going to now all of a sudden turn into this negative environment, and it's not going to end the way you want to. So you have to be aware of where the conversation's going, and if it's starting to go down a darker path, you got to bring it away from that and focus on, hey, why are we here? What are the solutions we're looking to do, rather than focus on all the complaints that are going on? Does that make sense to everyone? Right? Okay, of smile when you're walking through challenges to help transition the focus back towards solutions. That is kind of taking it's going the negative path and we're trying to bring it back. Also, I like to, when you're giving advice or suggestions, when you're hearing their concerns, when you're starting to tell them different ways we can help and insert a solution, it always helps to get them to agree. I do this all the time. So when you're talking about, okay, let me understand that you're really concerned with, will you be able to edit this in the future? And then you're nodding your head and they go, yeah, that is a concern. I'm really concerned with that. Then you can start turning it and say, here's how we do this. Here's how the solution can be edited. Do you have staff here? I can come in and help get them access so they can be on tech support and they can help with all the edits. And as you're shaking your head yes and saying, would that be something that would provide a solution so you could manage this and not feel overwhelmed because I can help your staff have access to that. Things like that. You're providing solutions to what they're struggling with, and you're having them agree with you the whole way. That makes it easier at the end to get the ultimate result you're looking for to gain a client, okay? Be considerate. Being considerate shows respect. So every time you do these things, it's showing that you truly care. It's not about if you get a sale. It's about caring about being able to solve solutions for this business. That's what we're looking to do, right? Provide their business bigger growth, leverage more time, use technology to improve business, use social media to try to get more traffic and attention to their business. We're trying to help them grow, and they're trying to understand, can we do that for them? Is this a good solution, okay? When you give respect, you gain respect, all right? They will respect everything more, and it won't be about the pressure of the sale. It'll be about the fit of the relationship. And if you've provided solutions to their issues that they've been looking for. Okay, that's different again from old school selling, which you just try to hammer objections, hammer them into high pressure, give me your card, place an order. And this is all about, did we go through your concerns? Did I provide adequate answers? Is the timing right to start? When can we start? Let's do this together, okay? That's a lot different, and then it's just a natural close that you never have to close. It just happens, okay? 4, be an active listener. Ask a question. I always say the majority of what you want to do, and when I've seen my wife do this and when I was doing this, even for the business, we kind of do two sides. I do a lot of business building, prospecting, recruiting, and bringing on partners and launching partners. She does a lot of the retail side, and both of these apply. Is be someone who's going to ask a lot of questions, because that is when you get to learn all about them. When you're the one primarily talking, you lose. You always lose, right? Because you're providing them with everything they need, and you've not figured out anything that you can use to help them in their needs. So always be the one asking the questions. Ask about their business. Ask about their personal life. Are they married? Are the kids? Find a way to start relating to them past just the general surface of sales and what they want to do. Hear the response, meaning actually care about what they're telling you, okay? Respond accordingly. That might seem pretty reasonable, but some people don't. Some people say things right out of the blue because you're so worried about, again, the close or the sale, that you're not actually listening to the person where you can actually engage in communication. Don't worry about what you're going to say next. Focus on what they're saying. This is all about just dropping everything and listening. And then when they stop talking, provide a response and then go back to another question if there's no other response required, okay? Always be the one gathering information. That will help you, okay? Avoid distractions. Don't be on your cell phone. If your cell phone vibrates, leave it in your pocket. There's so many things that I see on sales calls or talking with clients that all of a sudden it's like their eyes are everywhere but the client. And then all of a sudden they go like, am I really inconveniencing you? Do you really have to answer that now? And they think about what it is if they make this deal that's going to go on when you go home if you can't even stay focused on them for more than 5 seconds, okay? Make eye contact. Don't be looking around the room. Don't be kind of wobbly or googly eyes, right? Be the one who's always being attentive to what they need. You'll get a lot more if you're always keeping eye contact. Don't interrupt. Let them finish, okay? Ask clarifying questions so that nothing is left to chance. There's a lot of things or deals that go sour because someone assumed something, okay? Someone assumed something that wasn't said or it was said in a different way and you heard it differently than the client, or vice versa. So that happens a lot in business. Someone goes, I didn't know there was a monthly fee, and you said, well, there was, right? Has that ever happened to someone where they didn't get the full story? So clarify the question. If someone asks you, rephrase it, and then be able to answer that question so that both parties understand 100%. Be interested in them. Don't be interesting. Be interested in the things they have to say, all right? So that's how you have to, when you want to be in the power seat and gathering all this information, you need to have all of these things going on. And it seems simple, but be aware of them because most people aren't. Be the one asking questions. Be the one attentive. Be the one engaged in what they're doing. And always have this. Now, here's what ends up happening, and I'm not sure if it's on these slides, but when you start asking all the questions, they will give you everything you need to close a deal. To either partner with a business or sell a website, they will give you everything. And that way, when you go through the presentation, it's not a sales call because you can answer all the objections before they come up. You know all the issues because they just told you. So now you're going through the solutions to all the problems, and you developed a personal relationship because you got to know them past their business, and now you have trust. So all of these things happen, and then when you start doing the call or moving towards if this is a good fit, you've taken care of so many things, and now it's just a natural process to partner together. Nonverbal communication. Observe facial expressions, which are pretty universal, right? You don't have to go through these, but you have to be aware of what is going on with someone's look when you're talking. Does the prospect look happy, interested, annoyed, distracted, excited, engaged? Right? You'll notice this if you're presenting, or even if you're showing a plan to someone, right? You'll notice where they are, and it has to be up to you to then spark that in the direction that you want. If it's going negative, we already addressed that. How do you shift it so that it's positive? If someone's looking annoyed or distracted, how do you get their attention back? They might just be that way, but how do you actually keep it so it's interesting, right? You might have to simplify it. You might have to say less. You might have to do different things, you know? Everyone's different, so you have to be aware of this so that you can engage the person you're talking to, okay? Observe meeting layout. How and where does your prospect have you sit? So when you meet with someone, notice where it is, because that'll tell you kind of the relationship, the comfort level. If they have you at a long table and they're at the end and you're at the other end, there's a lot of distance there, right? Observe that, okay? Are they close to far away to you? If they're close, they automatically have some comfort level with what you're providing or interest in what you have to provide or who you are as a person, but you want to shrink that gap, and you just want to be aware because that says a lot before the person even speaks, okay? Observe their speech patterns. Are they slow and thoughtfulness? Is it fast? And that indicates being nervous. When a pitch lowers, it indicates self-doubt. This is kind of, maybe you didn't think about a lot of this stuff. I'm always, go, intense, and that says a lot about me. But when you're talking to your prospect, how do they answer you? Because that will tell you or give you an indication of how they're feeling about how the process is going. And observe body language. Open palms indicates honesty and openness, right? And so if they're, depending on how they're sitting. Arms and legs crossed indicates defensive and discomfort, right? You haven't gained that trust. And notice you can see these body languages and these nonverbal communications change as you go through the process of building a relationship or the sales call or the appointment or booking the appointment. You'll notice these things change. And the reason why we're saying it is you have to be aware. So if you see someone with their arms crossed, legs crossed, sitting far away from you, talking loud, or the pitch lowers, you can at least gauge where you need to go with that conversation, all right? Breaking eye contact can indicate doubt, exaggeration, or even distraction. You get an idea. Some people can look eye to eye. Some people look off to a distance. But just be aware. Are they engaged? And do they feel comfortable? And your job is to take that discomfort and move it to a level of comfort. All right? 6, create a sense of team and togetherness. This is probably one of the most important things you can do in developing trust and building a relationship to ultimately end in a sale. Change the relationship dynamic from I am selling you something to we can solve this together. We can work together. Because when you start forming an I can help you and we're separated, when you start saying we, you are now incorporating yourself as part of their business as a true partner in websites, in unfranchised ownership, that we're doing this together. I'm not going anywhere. I am rock solid. I will say something that's not in here because it's a commitment that goes to you. People doubt business owners that approach them to be business owners, right? That would be you expanding your business. And also, businesses will doubt if you're selling a website based on, do they feel you're going to be in business for the long haul? And do they believe you? I'm going to say that again. People will doubt and give resistance to a business owner trying to partner with another person in business. That would be you sponsoring someone on your unfranchised, or you trying to sell a website and that company having resistance, because part of their trust is, are you going to be in business for the long haul, or are you a hobbyist, or are you a wannabe? Are you someone who's looking to hit the lottery with your business and your MA web centers and get a quick fix and then disappear? That's a big worry. I would say the majority of the friction is going to come from that. Your company, you, right? This goes right back to that first slide, is you developing a relationship with that person. So I always tell people, in business, when you're looking to expand your own franchise, you get to look at every single one and say, this will work, even if you haven't cut a check, because I'm going to make it work, and I'm not going anywhere, and I'm never stopping until I'm successful and I have a team of successful people all with me at the top. And I don't care how long it takes, because I'm in it for however long it takes to make it. That is a lot of truth and trust that you develop when someone is considering partnering with you in business, isn't it? Versus someone who goes, yeah, I'm trying to make this work. If it doesn't work in 6 months, I quit. So hopefully it does. No one's going to partner with that person. So that can't be you. And same thing with websites. Are you going to be around? Are you going to take care of them? Are you going to make sure they stay up to date and current? Are you just a fly-by-night, or are you a lifer? That's what they need to sense from you. So when you create a sense of team and togetherness, you say, I'm in it for your life or your business because I'm not going anywhere. I'm rock solid, and I will always be here, and we will always keep your product up to date. And anytime you need me, I'm a phone call away. That creates so much unity and instant trust and confidence, right? We already mentioned confidence, that people will naturally just be attracted to that sense of just pride in a business, ambition, right? Ambitious people attract ambitious people. And if you're not, you're going to want to be around ambitious people if you want to be successful. So that's a huge part of this sense of team togetherness and your ability to communicate that you're in it for the long haul. You are going to succeed, and this is going to be part. You're going to make sure the business succeeds. So start using the words instead of I, and changing it to we, us, together we can. Let's see if the team can help us figure out a solution to the problem, right? Leverage MA Web Centers, that's part of the team. Let's see if we can work together to solve that issue, to figure out how you can make changes with your staff because you don't have time, to see if we can add that custom form to your site, whatever it is, okay? When can we do an appointment with, right? However you do that, again, you're trying to create a sense of we're in this together and I'm going to help you, right? We're partners, not I'm going to sell you a product and good luck once you have it. We've helped thousands of small to medium-sized businesses. We'd love to work together with you on whatever it is. So leverage your business and you in that person's business as we're doing this together, and also incorporating MA Web Centers technology and team to say, we got all of us working to make this work for you, and whatever angle you need to help them with, incorporate the words us, together, we, the team, right? All together, and that will gain a sense of teamwork rather than a client selling someone a product, okay? Be clear. What do? Be short and sweet. And I love saying this because this goes back to, I don't know if you guys knew Sarah Rose, the story that happened this week. She got her hair done, right? So she picked a local salon, and then she got to know the owner. And then in that conversation, what happens? She's happy, she's upbeat, everything we just talked about, her body language, she's interested. and learning all about this person, not trying to be interesting. And then eventually the person goes, wow, hey, what do you do? They're actually excited to figure out what's going on with this person. And her answer was short and sweet, right? Oh, I own a shop.com business. Oh, what is that? Well, I do several things. I do work on the corporate end. She talked a little bit about that. But I also help people own and operate this. And then she got into, some of our products. We have a lot of products. One of them is Motives Cosmetics. And as she's talking, guess what? The answer is short and sweet, and it sparks interest, and it's confident answers. And again, she's trying to get the person to talk rather than her telling everything. So all of a sudden she goes, oh my God, I know Lauren Reidinger. I know Lala. I follow them on Instagram. I see all their Motives products. Tell me more about that. Do you see how all of that, an upbeat attitude, can get someone who wants to know more about what they're doing, right? Can get someone intrigued and say, wow, this person's so great. Let me figure out what's going on in their life. And they'll really be interested, and then you can get them talking. She found out that she studied in London. Are we in London, right? So she has all these contacts, and that's where she studied everything she knows about the salon business and designing and coloring hair. She learned from there. And then she has connections that Sarah asked all about. What about your family? Does someone else own the business? Our partnership? What do your father do? He's a pharmaceutical rep. What does your sister do? She owns part of the business. She studied business management at college. Do you see how she learned everything? And there's no selling. And all of a sudden, let's get together to figure out how we can get Motives in the salon. Let's get together to figure out more how shop.com works. It all just came. And then at the end, she goes, hey, I was trying to book something on your website. And she goes, oh my God, don't even bring up our website. It's horrendous. I know. It's one of the things we've been looking to do. And then she goes, by the way, that's one of the biggest divisions we have is website development. Let me put you in touch with my husband, right? So she's saying she's leveraging, she's already building a sense of team. It's not just me doing all these things. My husband and I do it, and then we work with MA Web Centers. So she said, and we'll contact you. We'll show you how all this can make whatever you need for your site work and make it really profitable and have a great design. And she got all excited. None of that would have happened if she went in there depressed, sad, didn't care, just wanted the hair done, right? None of that would have happened. And then the short, clear answer allowed the conversation to go where it needed. I always say when someone asks, what do? You have to have a short answer. I own a shop.com business. I help businesses develop websites. Or whatever it is. It has to be short, sweet, so that someone will want to ask more. But if you give all of it, then you blow out the person. The relationship never starts, okay? Body language. Again, we talked about that eye contact. Smile when you talk. Even if you're on the phone, there was a great exercise. If you're ever on the phone, go in front of a mirror and look happy. Look engaged. See what you look like and practice smiling more. And when you're just looking at the mirror, and it'll affect your conversation on the phone, okay? Best way to be clear when answering this question is tell the truth. If you start embellishing on what you do or your success level in the business before you hit it or different things, your answers will be so off base, and people know when someone's not telling the truth. And the best thing is just be so honest with your business. When someone goes, hey, do you have a lot of sites? How many sites did you sell? You can say, hey, listen, I work with MA Web Center. We've sold tens of thousands of sites all over the world. I'll be happy to provide some samples or a sample website you can go to see some screenshots of some of the design work we do. That is a truthful answer versus you lying and saying, oh yeah, I've done tons of them. We'll show you some samples, right? So just be careful how you word it and always be truthful, always, all right? What should they do? Schedule the appointment. Edify the product specialist. These are the things that you want to expect and be clear on their end, all right? Create excitement about a possible solution to their problem. Remember, you're not selling, you're solving, and confirm the appointment. Don't convolute the message with unimportant details, all right? So don't be all crazy with these things, okay? Small efforts every day. These are reminders and announcements. Let me go back to this. When you're clear, you have to be, when you're going through an appointment or relationship, and I'll end with this, is you have to be so clear about what the prospect is expected to do. And if you don't ever ask the question, you'll never get the result you're looking for. So if you develop a great relationship and all these great information, and you learn all about them, all about their needs. And if you don't be clear on what the next steps are and offer them, you'll never build a business. You'll never end up in website sales. You'll never have a business expansion with partners in your business, because you have to be clear. So in that case, if someone says, hey, this makes sense, or wow, I like all these things, you then have to then be clear about what's the next steps. We need to set an appointment so you can see exactly what I was talking about. You have to say that, and then you have to say, when can we book this appointment? Let's do it now. See how clear that is? Versus, hey, why don't you let me know when you might have some free time, and if it works, we'll set up some time, and it's all vague. You won't get the sale. You won't get the appointment. You have to be clear, okay? Edify the product specialist. So you're telling the person exactly what they should expect from the phone call that they'll get after the appointment. When you're excited about the possible solutions to their problems, they get excited about it, and you're clear. Here's how we can do this. We'll work together. Here's exactly why I'm here, is we're going to solve these problems as a team. Now it's clear as why you're there and why that conversation's even happening. Ready? So when you start solving problems and your whole mindset is, how can I help this business solve their problems, provide solutions, and ultimately help them build their business and save on time and commitment, with them having to go out and do a lot of things that a website could fundamentally do on their behalf and automate some of it. You have proven value, and they will go with you and they'll stick with you for life if you help them through the process after developing a relationship. Again, let me end with where I started. I was trained in traditional sales after studying music for 3 years. In that company, I went from the worst salesperson, and then come my second year, I was #1 out of 38 people in that office. And we had to do it on new sales, and we had to do it on taking existing clients and offering them more services. All right. And that was my peak. So I went from worst and applying what they taught. And that was a model of, and let me give you a little bit of how this works. The first company only did phone calls. Once you booked an appointment, you did the appointment in person, but that was it. And you only can meet with them once, because you didn't have time, because you had to find more customers. You couldn't go back and meet with people 3 or 4 times. You didn't have time to do it. The second company didn't allow us to use phone calls, and we had to go in to meet people and then develop a report in 30 seconds, set an appointment to then go back and try to sell the person. So it was more of moving from cold call to relationship, because you were forced to meet people in person, which automatically develops a relationship. Applying that technique, right, from what I did at that company, I tried to do the same thing with websites, and it worked okay. I would have to go maybe in 40 doors to land 5 appointments to sell 2 websites, right? That's a lot. So it's not that it doesn't work, but it wasn't producing. Then I would see Sarah Rose never pick up a phone, type in some random things, go out, meet with people, and come home with deals closed. And then never pick up phones and just have appointments all the time. And I finally said, okay, listen, obviously you know something I don't. And that's where this whole thing came from, is how to develop relationship selling versus just trying to ram a product down someone's throat without ever seeing if it's a good fit, right? So that's the difference, is if you can discover everything about a person and gain their trust and get them to know you and vice versa, now you have the ability to see what they need, and now you can insert solutions. Old school sales was providing solutions before you discovered the problem. So everything is reversed. Doesn't that make more sense? If someone said, oh, I have a cut, right? I have a cut on my foot and I'm bleeding. What would you then say to that person? Oh, you need a Band-Aid, right? Let's go buy Band-Aids. And does a person go buy Band-Aids if they don't have any? Yeah, they go buy Band-Aids, and it fixes their problem, and they're happy. And then from that point on, every time that problem happens, they're going to always have Band-Aids on hand or buy more when they run out. Now, imagine just someone's never cut themselves, and you run up to them and say, oh my God, have you seen these? And they go, what are these? These are, if you ever get hurt or bleed or anything like that, it helps stop the bleeding, and you want to buy like a whole pack of these. They're only, $7. And that's a harder sale, right? But if you know the problem and the problem exists and you can have them tell you about it, when you offer a solution, they're happy to go with it. But when you push a solution before they even told you the problem, you are now officially crossing the line and you are selling them, and they're immediately not comfortable, and they will push resistance against you as hard as possible because they know you don't have their best interests in mind. I hope this really clarifies traditional sales versus relationship selling, and relationship selling is the way selling is done today. Lots of information, building rapport and trust, getting the problems out, and then providing solutions for a business owner, okay? So reminders and announcements, small efforts every day have a compounding effect. Report all your results at the weBVolumecontest.com/activity reporting page. Make sure you do that every week. Don't wait for someone to remind you. Stay engaged, the Facebook group daily. I really appreciate it. Guys, listen, I do a lot. I'm running a lot of groups too, but make sure you're actively involved on Facebook, because we can really use all different types of stories, suggestion, comments. I love success stories. Share that with the team, because that really is a great education, just hearing from each other and leveraging. And by the way, friend each other so you can bounce ideas back and forth, okay? Refresh on your basics. Week 3 is motivating prospects. Next week, how do you take a prospect, become motivated when you help them discover and solve problems better than anyone else? Generating interest through informed discovery, selling versus problem solving. We mentioned some of that today. Research and advanced questions during the contact. Okay, so here's the challenge of the week. Access your interpersonal skills. Pick areas to improve and focus on these specific topics during your conversation. So check your attitude. Are you smiling? Are people happy around you, or are they depressed? Do people gossip when they see you, or are they afraid to gossip? That's a big part of what you're putting out there and projecting to people. I always steer away from anytime we're around friends and stuff and they start gossiping. The immediate thing is you'll see me leave the room, because I don't want them to know that I am even remotely interested in doing that, because I just don't think it's good. It doesn't attract great things, okay? Care. Learn something new about your prospect. Ask them about family, hobbies, business, education, backgrounds. You do that by asking the question. It doesn't have to be about business. Get to know them. Hey, find a way to relate and engage in a conversation. How about this? Everyone's kids are back to school, so ask, hey, do you have kids? Oh yeah, I have 3 kids. Are they back to school? And start finding a way to relate to people. Different times of the year allows us to all be on the same page. Hey, are you ready for Christmas? Do you have family over for Thanksgiving? Do you host Thanksgiving? All of that stuff. Do you have a lot of family over? You have small family. Those are the things we can always relate, find a way, and then you can develop a relationship past just what they need for business. Okay, the sale will go a long way, and the relationship will go a long way, and the sale will just be a lifelong sale, and ultimately, usually what develops is a great friendship. Okay, consider it, empathize, be on time. If you're someone who runs late this week, be on time. Leave 5 minutes earlier. Don't do that thing that always makes you 5 minutes late, okay? Relate to a prospect's needs. Respect their time. Ask when is a good time to follow up, okay? Be very good at that. When is a good time for you? Let's book a follow-up time. Don't get off the phone till they give you that, okay? Active listening. It's all about them, less on you. If you're talking more, you're doing it wrong. Get them talking more and build information on them by you asking questions, okay? Avoid distractions, keep eye contact, smile, keep the energy high, ask lots of questions, practice responding accordingly, okay? Nonverbal, again, you're looking at facial expressions, space, speech patterns, or language, and work on your skills. Be aware of not only how they're displaying and where the conversation's going and kind of adjusting where you need to go, but be aware of how you look, all right? Creates a sense of team. Eliminate I, and it's all about we. It's about MA Web Centers, you, them, and having a relationship together. And clarity. What do you know? How clearly do you ask for the appointment? This is big. Again, they have to expect something. And if you expect to have anything result in something positive for business growth, you have to be clear on what you expect from them. So at the end of a conversation, it should be the next step is we need to book an appointment with tech support. What times work best for you? Here are my availabilities. Whatever it is, you got to be so clear so that they know where to go. You ultimately, at the end of that conversation, have to be the one leading the way, and you have to be incredibly clear so that they can move where you need them to move, all right? And that is really up to you to do that. And if you're vague, you're never going to have the person close a deal, partner with you, whatever it has to do with, and all of that relationship building would just be that, a relationship that is built. Be clear on how you ask for things. Guys, that's it. I'm going to end there. I will go and see if there's any questions. I have 8 minutes. I appreciate you guys having me on here tonight. I hope that was incredibly helpful. I appreciate Sarah Rose allowing me on here while she trains down in New York City. I'm sure she's having a great time. But I'll open it up for 8 minutes. At 10 o'clock, I'm jumping on another call. So if you have questions past what we can answer, why don't you please go on the Facebook group. And after the end of my call, I will go through each question and answer them individually. I appreciate your help so much. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great week.